Hi guys, I'm Nithin.
I'm Vera.
And today we are having a project analysis for Parktown.
So this is one of the most anticipated integrated development right in Tampines.
Parktown is a development that many of the people are talking about it now. So I think, there's a hype around it in general.
Yes, for sure.
I can't wait for us to deep dive into it.
Alright, let's go.
Stay connected with us. So actually this is my Telegram channel and this is Vera's WhatsApp link. So if you do want to reach out to us for anything property related, do feel free to scan the QR code. So disclaimer, all these prices are actually not official. These are just our thoughts on what could be the prices for the various unit types.
Now just diving right into this development, once again it's an integrated development, and what I really love about this is that it's not only a residential development, there is also community clubs, community plaza, and even retail malls and hawker center, and even bus interchange and MRT right at your doorstep.
So it's everything that you need.
Correct.
All in one. So
yeah, it's all within your fingertips.
I think it's lovely because I'm someone who values convenience, because sometimes you need to go for hawker, then you need to go somewhere else. Then you want to go for community plaza, you need to go somewhere else. So I think it's very important that all these amenities all in one development. I think it's very attractive. Yes. And I think it's cool because you don't need to have a car, because Tampines North, not the best location. I mean, let's be honest.
It's not near the three malls, the three mega malls.
It's not the center.
Tampines Mall, all this. Yeah.
With the MRT and the interchange being right beside, right below you, in fact, I think it's fantastic because you get everything in one place. And even though it's a location that's not as central as Tampines Central, I think with this integrated development, I think it was add to the value there. Yeah.
Now diving right into the artist's impressions of how Parktown will actually look like. Very nice. A lot of greenery. The name is
already Parktown, right? So
yes.
Of course they have to factor in the greenery as well. So I think it looks very nice. A very interesting thing I think you need to take note of is that it's actually a mid-rise development. So the units here, it's not going to be like those you see at Ori, 40 stories, Clementi, Alta, 40 stories. No. So what we see here is that actually most of the developments here is actually mid-rise.
And so for Parktown, right, just now like what Nithin mentioned, the MRT interchange is actually at the basement. There's actually no need for you to rack your brain about if let's say it's draining. There's actually the MRT right below you lah.
So all these things may seem small when you're looking into buying a property, but actually it all adds up because future buyers, right, they also look at convenience and I think it's just a shelter very important, man. No, but actually when you're buying a property, all these small details add up, because we're looking at something that the future buyers will actually accept. Small things but I think it adds to the value of this development.
Okay, so now diving deeper into this integrated development, we have both the residential and commercial in one place. The residential part starts from the second floor onwards lah. Yeah, and then for the commercial, which is actually open to the public, of course, you have your retail. So the link, right, for the MRT is actually on the first floor. Yeah, and this is where you can directly go to the upcoming Tampines North MRT station. Haven't come out yet, it will be coming out in 2030s around there. For your basement one, you can do all your grocery shoppings over there because your supermarket is right there. Yes, and you also have the link to the MRT also at basement 1. And then for basement 2 is your retail car park for the public. Okay, so for Parktown, right, the developers are actually a consortium of a Capital Land, UOL, and Singapore Land. For the preview date is actually on the 7th of Feb, and booking day it's going to be on the 22nd of February. Yeah, so just some key details. This project is actually relatively large, about 1,193 units with 12 blocks. As what I mentioned just now, there's the basement car park, retail mall, transport hub with your MRT and your aircon bus interchange. There is actually 1+ study all the way to 5 bedder. Estimate ETOP is around end 2028. And for your MRT and bus interchange, completion will be on 2030.
So the reason why I actually put this is because from TOP to the completion, you might need to wait a while before the MRT and bus interchange gets commissioned off and is ready to be operational.
Why we decided to add this in, because for Capital Land, UOL, and Singapore Land, right, these are actually very reputable developers. So their track record is actually very good. For example, for Capital Land, the past projects for them is actually Sengkang Grand, Skyview, One Pearl Bank, Jayden D. Leeden, and Canning Hill Piers. For UOL and Singapore Land, it's Mayor Blue, located at District 15 Katong site, Wharton House, Pine Tree Hill, Amo Residences, Cleveland Water Gardens, Avenue Residences, and Trevor. Yes.
Okay, so now we're looking into the URA master plan. So this is actually the land parcel that we're looking at. So what we see here is that the land use has been, is both for commercial and residential. So it's about 50,000 square meters. Plot ratio is 2.5, and all these details are here. So what we see here is that URA master plan. Why is this important? You may ask. Because Tampines North is actually akin to the completion of a leaf. So I'm not sure you can see it's like a leaf here. So it's pretty interesting how the government also sees the land plot as, right? So you can see that the Tampines North, there's actually 5 key planning strategies. So I'm not going to go through everything, but the important thing to take note here is that there's Tampines North Hub. All this is going to be like a new Tampines. It's an area that's coming up, to a lot of government is doing a lot there. So you can see that Orel is coming up as well. So you can also see for Tenet. So there's a lot of developments coming in the area as well.
And we can see that the Tampines North MRT station is actually located right next to where Parktown will be. It's very convenient right at your doorstep.
So this is actually the Tampines North transformation I was talking to you earlier about. So you can see that here is where the development is going to be. Then there's going to be an education plot here. Currently there's an Angsana Primary behind it. Then there's going to be a residential plot here just opposite. So as of now, we have no idea what's going to be coming up. But all these are things that you may want to take note of, because when you buy a big development, you might want to be more sensitive of where it's facing. So if you know that it's facing a school, you may be, your views may not be that blocked. But if it's facing a residential, then you may want to be more sensitive. If you are someone who's very sensitive on the views and what you get, then I think you may want to take note of that. The location analysis, it's quite straightforward here. We have Tampines North being constructed here. So this is where the Parktown is going to be. So there's Angsana Primary School. So there's a lot of amenities actually. Even though for now it may seem that the area is nothing much there.
But it's a growing township. It's developing actually.
So the government is planning to do a lot there. So I see something similar to Lentor. Lentor is an area that people didn't want to Lentor can buy man. But you see Lentor mentioned 75% so on the first day itself. So I think it's a opportunity for you if you're looking to go into a certain area, and I think it's always good to take advantage of the market when people have not entered yet. It's better you buy something that's not developed yet. Instead of you really develop already, then you pay a high price. Like for instance, Toa Payoh, you're looking at average 2.6 per square foot. I also feel very expensive If you're keen on knowing who are your neighbours, mostly all the recent HDBs So you have Tampines Greenview, Tampines Green Clay. This is mostly a HDB area So that's why you can see that views are not the main important thing here. Okay, so now we're looking at the number of integrated developments. So, Vera, are you aware of how many integrated developments there are currently?
I am actually not sure.
Okay, so what we have here is that there's actually only 9 developments. So there's only 9 developments comprising of residential and commercial. These are some of the examples like Sentries, Hillian, North Park Residences, we have the Reserve Residences, then we're going closer to the northeast side, we have Sengkang Grand, Campus Heights, and then Pasir Ris 8, of course, everyone knows about that. So these are some of the integrated developments currently in the market. What I want to show you here is that all these are the MRT lines. So there's actually 12 integrated development, and there's only 9 with full integrated development with more MRT and bus interchange. So I think this is something that you may want to factor in as well, because not many developments are like that. So again, it comes down to future buyers looking into it, because if there's not much supply, then you may be able to get a better profit margin. So I think all this is very sensitive if you're an investor, because I think if you're looking into something that's a lot of supply, chances are you may not be able to get that much of a profit margin. Okay, so what we have here is also the integrated development size analysis. So why is this important, you may ask? Because how big is Parktown? Everyone keeps saying Parktown is big, Parktown is big. But let me just show you some of the analysis we have here. So Campus Heights and Campus Ones, so the land area is about 27,000. We have Sentries, Jurong Point 33, Bedok is about 24, Hillian at 18, North Park at 41, Sengkang Grand is not bad, 37k. Pasir Ris is also 38k, Reserve 32, and Parktown is 50k.
That's
so the difference
huge.
is huge.
Yeah.
So what I want to show you here is that the GFA is also very high, 125,700. The rest of them, it's not that high. So it's going to be Singapore's biggest integrated development. Can the hype get any higher than that? So this is some of the other examples as well. Lentor, Modern, many of you may know. So One Holland V, Woodley Residences, Park Place Residences, Waterway Point. So all these actually the land area is not much lah. It's nothing compared to Parktown. Parktown is 50,000 square meters, which is huge.
I think on besides Treasure, which is actually the biggest one in Tampines, this is actually the second biggest already.
It's also very different because this integrated, right? But Treasure is not integrated, and Treasure doesn't have an MRT. So I think all these is things that you might want to factor in.
Correct.
And we all know how well Treasure did lah. Every time when he launched, people say, hey, not a good location. But when it comes to the price, the profits that people actually got for the units there, it makes huge profit margins there lah.
Yes.
Okay, so now we've come to the land price analysis. So there were only 3 tenderers, and then actually the bid price was about 1.2 billion. So this is actually the bid price. PSF per plot ratio, we're looking at about 884. Not sure there's one more in Tampines West. So there's a mixed development coming up there.
Yes, correct.
So I think some people are excited about that as well, those Tampines West people. It's by Overhyped and Sunway. But actually the land price is a bit more expensive.
Correct.
So I'm not sure what price they may launch at. So because if you buy land more expensive, you need to charge that to the consumers because developers also, they cannot be losing money. So we need to factor in all this so because how the Tampines area is also transforming is very important for that So land price analysis. So I just mentioned about the Overhyped Sunway one, right? The Tampines West. So it was actually awarded last year in October. So one thing I want to actually highlight to you guys is that actually, right, this land was very hotly contested. So there's about 6 developers fighting for it and we can see actually it's only the winners, right, Overhyped and Sunway, right, they only got it at 2% higher than the second bidder. So the gap is not much and it's very hotly contested. A year apart, but we see that more developers are going for Tampines West. It's not even Tampines Central. So actually, right, there's only 6 bidders, so it's about 1 year apart, right? The interest rate environment changed. So as buyers, the interest rate environment is very important. For developers, it's also the same thing because the interest rate environment actually gives you a lot of insight into how the developers behave as well. So as consumers, we also, interest rate lower, better, right? They're also the same. So that's why now you see there were 6 people bidding for the land. So I think all this is important because it shows how your prices are going to be, what's your future demand going to be, and all that. So back to Tampines Avenue 11, Parktown Residences. So the estimated break-even price after factoring in land, construction, financing is about 1661 PSF PPR. 20% markup, we're looking at about 1993 per square foot which is, I think, very attractive. But I just want to say that it's very unlikely that developers going to be launching at these prices because we can see that even Norwood Grand, right, was launched at around 2,000 per square foot, and that's Woodlands. Doesn't mean the price was cheap for the developer, means they need to launch cheap So I think that's
and they also still have to
make their money
Okay, so now moving on to the site plan. As mentioned earlier, there are 12 different blocks. So as you can tell that this whole development is actually segregated into 2 different parts. One is the East Park and one is also the West Park. All the blocks that are actually facing external wise, right, they are up to 12 stories, whereas the inner blocks are actually up to 7 to 8 stories.
So block to block distance, I think it's important to take note of this because you don't want to see your neighbors, right? Sometimes you go some of the resale viewings, right, we actually see, you can just throw a string to the next, your opposite neighbor one. So it's really, block to block distance is very important. I think generally the units here, you can see that some of the units here, 26 meter, 22 meter. So these are the ones, if you're sensitive about privacy, you may want to avoid. I think anything that's more than that, I think is generally fine.
Okay, so for the site plan, right, actually you can see that 30 to 40% of the units is west facing. So for those who actually dislike the direct sunlight, this is something that you might have to consider. Personally, for me, I really love west sun because I can, hang my clothes in peace, right?
I don't like because I don't like the whole sun shine to my face. I'm not a fan of that. So
yeah, so this is just something that you might have to take note if let's say you're like Nithin who doesn't like the west sun. So you can see here there is this red line that we carved out for you. So what this means is actually the blocks here, right, and the stacks here are actually facing the road. Those who are sensitive to noise, this is something that you might have to take note. But if let's say you have a good ballot number, you may want to avoid this because it is actually pretty close to the bus interchange.
So some people are actually a bit more noise sensitive. So I think it's important to factor this in because I think all this adds up to your planning for the units that you want.
Yes.
Some of the balloting tips that we have for you guys is that actually it's important to take note of the price. If it's like a highest for a 3-bedder, then if you can go into a lower floor, but for the next unit type, sometimes you have to have someone to work with to actually guide you. Hey, this price, I think you can top up a bit more. You can go into the low floor next unit type. Is that something that you want to consider? Because I think as buyers, when you go into balloting day, it's crazy because you only got 10 or 15 minutes to make your biggest purchase of your life. So there's not much leeway for you to think and have that thought process and sometimes some developments is crazy. You don't want moving on to the next one. So
and you might actually see the unit that you want getting snatched away in front of your eyes.
So I think to avoid all this, I think planning is very important. I didn't get my first choice unit. What's my second? What's my third? Or sometimes you may need even more than that if your balloting number is not great. You will also want to avoid certain facing like what I mentioned so interchange, West Sun, 30 meters between blocks. So all these are important things.
So for unit mix, right, for Parktown, we can see that a majority of it actually comes from the 1 and 2-bedder because it takes up about 56%, right? So for the 3, 4, 5 bedders, actually it takes up less than 50% of the whole development, only about 44%. So for Tenet and Orel EC, because it's a subsidized land, usually government will not have 1 to 2-bedder, usually starts from 3-bedroom onwards. So that's why for Tenet and Orel, there's no 1 and 2-bedder. Since there is a 1 and 2-bedder right here in Parktown, this is actually the advantage for you because it is actually very ideal for investors if let's say you're intending to invest in a property right here in Parktown.
So another thing I want to highlight to you guys is that when Tenet and Orel MOPs, right, it may be a bit difficult if you're a Parktown owner to exit for 1 and 2 bedders because you bought at a certain quantum. Buyers in the future, they may feel that I might want to go for a 3-bedder in Tenet or Orel because their purchase price was a bit lower than you. They are able to afford the PSI will be lesser so in terms of quantum wise, it may be a bit difficult for you to exit if you're looking at a 1 or 2-bedder here. So another thing I also want to highlight to you guys is that 5-bedder, right, actually can be a good option. Not many units, only about 22 units.
Correct. So
you know how Treasure, 5 of the 5-bedders, they make up to $1 million profit.
Right.
So it's a good option because I think for Tampines area, we're looking at family profiles. We're looking at larger family sizes. If you are someone who can, look into a 5-bedder, I think it's something that you may want to consider.
Yes, because of the limited supply here. Okay, so for unit distribution, I think you can just see from the screen here. Likewise, for 1 to 2-bedder, there's actually a lot of it right here, 56%, and then the rest goes from 3-bedroom all the way to the 5-bedroom premium for 44%.
Okay, so Parktown versus surrounding resale. So Tampines, many condos. You can see this is Parktown. You can see Park Central. Some of them are resale ECs now. Orel coming up in same launch period as well. So TOP is going to be 2029. So Tenet is going to be next year, 2026. You can see that Trillion, City Life, and all these are examples. So you can see there's also the mixed development coming up at Tampines West. So there's also another Street 95 ECGLS. So this is just examples of the resale properties around the area. The past 2 years, these are actually some of the transactions that we can see. So for Treasure, 2-bedder, we're looking at 1.6. 3-bedder, you're looking at 1.667. 4-bedder, you're looking at 1.7. These are actually the prices that we're looking at already, like 1,006 per square foot. So some of the quantum here also important to take note that it's before harmonization
Yes.
PSF is actually lower last time, but now PSF is higher because developers price it in terms of their unit type itself. So if you were to look at all these, right, you can see that some of actually even Treasure 4-bedders looking at 1.718 per square foot. These are just average transactions, so there are more transactions that have actually crossed this mark already. So if you were to look at it that way, Parktown at 2.123 per square foot, is it reasonable? If you were to ask me, I think it's very reasonable because the resale there is already 1.8, Treasure is already 1.718. Parktown is a newer development, so
got MRT,
got integrated. So it's important to take note of this because Treasure, no MRT. It's a very interesting location, but I think even with all that say about Treasure, the profits are good.
Yes.
People are still buying. We get to see a lot of resale buyers going into Treasure nowadays due to the quantum. It's very affordable. So with an integrated development, with MRT, full facilities, is that reasonable? Okay, so I've actually taken an example of Sengkang Grand. So the reasons for choice is because Sengkang Grand is also a mid-res development and it's an integrated development. So I'll be using this as a comparison for how I will be moving forward for this analysis. Sengkang Grand, right, you can see the Interstack Block 84, 936 square feet, 3-bedder. Level 5, 1.55. Level 10, 1.58. So the difference is about 40,000 and per floor jump is about 8,000. So this is why I'm actually showing you about Sengkang Grand is to understand how the developer will price. I think it's important to make note of all the patterns that different developers have in terms of different units as well and different types of development. So this is actually integrated. So you can see that the link to Parktown is that this is actually a mid-rise development, not much views. So people here are not going for views.
Yes,
compared
for sure.
to Ori, Alta, there's views to go for. But here, you're going to get HDB views. So do you want to go for a higher unit? Are you willing to pay the premium? Or, if you're someone that feel, if I'm already affording the certain budget, I might as well go for the highest floor. Different buyers behave differently. And I think there's no a fixed way to look at it. So it's always important to take note that is it worth it to pay extra to be on a higher floor for a development that's not very prominent on views, because mostly you're going to be getting HDB views anyways. So I think it's
right, look left your views.
So it's pretty much the same. So is paying that kind of premium important to you? And are you willing to do so? Because when the price list comes out, is that something that you want to factor in as well? Okay, Sengkang Grand Interstack analysis. You can see that one is internal facing, and another one is external facing. You can see that the high floor is about 1.64, another one also high floor about 1.6. So actually the difference is about 40k lah. And is it worth to pay for an internal facing unit? You may also wonder because do you really want to face HDBs, or would you want a pool facing? So I think 40k is pretty standard. If you're looking for a pool facing unit, you may be expected to pay that kind of premium lah. Okay, now we're looking at harmonization effects. So I'm just giving you an example of Tembusu Grand versus Emerald of Katong. So you can see that 1 bedroom average is about 2.5, 2 bedroom for Tembusu Grand 2.5, 3 bedroom 2.4, 4 bedroom 2.4, 5 bedroom is also about 2.467 per square foot. Whereas if you were to look at Emerald of Katong, the average prices in terms of just in general, right, we see that the square foot prices are higher.
Yes.
This is because harmonization. So the key idea we are looking at is that the PSF we are looking at is higher. If you were to look at the units, it's becoming smaller. So the unit sizes are smaller, but in terms of the quantum you're paying is pretty much similar lah.
Yep.
So Parktown, the units are actually relatively large. So the PSF may be a bit lower than all these developments as well.
Exit strategy is actually very important when you are going to buy a development like that. So for Tampines, right, like we said previously, Tampines North is actually a growing township, but there are actually a lot of HDBs that are about to MOP soon. So this is something that you might have to take into consideration as well, because who is going to be your buyers in the future? Did you know that actually 50% of the condo buyers come from HDB upgraders?
Nope, I didn't know that. Now I know.
Correct. So actually, it's very important that you have these surrounding HDBs to help to push up the pricing for your unit here. Not only that, you also have your Paya Lebar Air Base, which we have mentioned earlier that it might be vacating in 2030s around there. So once that is being vacated, right, there are actually new residential plots that the government is going to be planning to put lah. So here say there's going to be about 150k new homes over there, right? And not only that, we are actually very, very close to Terminal 5, the airport in general, right? So we actually have a lot of air stewardess and air stewards over there that are actually looking to rent a space, right? Because it's more near to their workplace. It's very convenient for them. For your buyers and tenants, they are actually coming from these major places that we have to take note of, right? Because when there are job opportunities, it drives your workforce and there will be demand for housing, right? So rentability is also there as well. And for your buying side, the HDB upgraders are there for you because they are going to be MOPing pretty soon after Parktown
TOPs.
TOP. Yeah, about 2030, even up to 2032, 2033, around there.
So this is just some of the surrounding HDBs like Vera mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So Tampines Green, estimated MOP 2029.
For Tampines Green regions, right, actually, there are many sellers there that have not sold their unit yet. Yeah.
So these people may not be selling at the 5-year mark, but they may sell when, Parktown TOPs lah, because maybe they may not be able to afford, this kind of quantum yet, but
Right.
maybe if they are looking to buy this when it becomes a resale property. So in terms of the other ones also, like you can see Costa Grove, all this Tampines Greenview, all 2030 lah. So we can see there is going to be a lot of demand in terms of HDB upgraders coming from, because it's just a numbers game lah. I mean, so many people is going to be MOPing. There's definitely going to be buyers who are looking at Parktown.
Correct. And do you know that actually for here, right, for the 5-room, 4-room, they are actually hitting 900 plus, close to $1 million already. So we can see over here, for Tampines Greenweave, right, the place, I think that one should be block 608A, 609A, either one, right? They are already transacted at 950K. Not only that, there's also 922K, 915K. So all these, right now they are already selling close to $1 million. Next time, when you are ready to let go of your unit at Parktown, this HDB will hit above $1 million.
Because now already Tampines is really transacting at these kind of prices lah. So
Correct.
I think that we're going to be seeing Tampines becoming $1 million estate soon, like many more transactions.
Yes.
So let's hope that happens soon.
Okay, so now coming to the layout analysis, we are starting with the 1-bed plus study. Okay, so this one is actually a pretty standard layout lah, nothing much. It's just that you have your study in the middle of your 2 bedrooms. Right? Because usually it's located at the side, right beside the entrance. The living room is actually more elongated. It's not your usual squarish concept lah. And then you also have an open kitchen concept. Right, so take note for kitchen wise, if let's say you are someone that really like cooking, there's no windows lah.
But then may not be possible lah. You're looking at this kind of unit type, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
correct. But then again, it's a 1-bed plus study. If let's say you're looking to rent out your unit, these are the kind of maintenance that you will have to look out for as well.
So this is also the estimated prices lah. So we are taking it about 22, 23, 24. So for Parktown, right, there's actually a lot of layouts. We're not going to be going through everything due to time constraint. I don't think you guys want to hear us talk about layouts forever lah. It's just too many, and the differences are not much lah. It's very small, minor differences. So actually, if you guys want to know more, you can always feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to go through with you lah. And in terms of a 1-bedder, right, usually we these are some of the prices that we're looking at. So in terms of this analysis, the prices for the different unit types are actually a bit different that we're estimating. So along the way, we'll explain to you guys as well. 1-bedroom rental yield, if you were to look at Treasure, right, the average rental for a 1-bedder is already 2007 lah. So if you were to rent as in 2007 and then you purchase at 1.16, like what you see earlier, based on a estimated price, right, we're looking at about rental yield being about 2.79. So actually this number is not very good, because usually for rental yield, best is 4%. 3 plus is okay, but 2.79 is not fantastic. I mean, you're only getting about 2.7 for a 1-bedder. So it's not fantastic. So I think it's something that investors may want to take note of lah.
Okay, so now coming to the 2-bedroom compact, right? Likewise, for 2-bedroom, we have the standard dumbbell layout, and we also have an elongated living space with an open kitchen that is against the wall. For the master bedroom, it's actually big enough of a space for you to put your king-size bed and one dressing table at the side. Other than that, because it's a dumbbell layout, if let's say you want privacy, this is something that you might have to take note of, because when you stand in the middle, you can actually see all the rooms lah. Estimated pricing, since this is a smaller unit, we are going to start it off at about ranging about 2.2 to 2.4k PSF, from 1.3 million to 1.36 million and $1.42 million respectively. So for a two-bedder here at Parktown,
I think we have to be realistic. We have to look into the market now itself as well. Okay, so now we're looking at the two-bedder rental yield. So as you know, rental is very important for one-bedder, two-bedder because the type of people that is buying these are usually investors. Sometimes people buy for own stay as well. So we look at Treasure at Tampines again. We are looking at the unit sizes. You can see the average rental for a two-bedder is about 3.3.
yes.
So it's not too bad. Quite decent for Tampines lah. And you can see that with the purchase price of about 1.6, the rental yield is about 2.48. To ask me, it's not fantastic rental yield. So if you're looking for rental yield, this may not be the place. But if you're looking at sellability, maybe yes, because it's an integrated development. So it's always boils down to rentability versus sellability lah.
Correct.
So these are things that you may want to take note of.
Two-bedroom premium. Likewise, we have a dumbbell layout. This time round, your kitchen is actually not an open kitchen. Thank goodness for those who love to walk. Hey, you can actually have the choice to enclose your kitchen. Take note for this enclosed kitchen, right? All your walk hay, all the heat will all be stuck inside because there is no window here.
And I think in terms of prices, we're looking at 1.46, 1.56. So for a two-bed, two bath, I think that's about pretty okay. I mean, considering Treasure's about 1.2 lah, and this about 1.25, you get a pool facing in Treasure, right?
Yeah.
If you are, someone who can afford a little bit more, able to wait out a bit more for something convenience, then I think this can be something that you can consider as well.
Correct. So I think just a short one, right? This is where the units are lah. Like Nithin mentioned just now, they are all pool facing because they are all internal facing. Yep.
So now we are looking at the 2-bed plus study. So this is actually the show flat model itself lah. So we can see that actually it's also a dumbbell layout, no corridor. So the reason why developers are going for dumbbell layout nowadays is to reduce the corridor's wasted space.
Correct.
So as you can see, I mean, there's a study lah. So there's going to be a study. You can see there's a difference as a study. So there's going to be a flexible space lah. So you may not want to use it as a study. You have the option as well. And closable kitchen, same. Pretty much similar standard ones. You can see that the master, you can put a king size bed, and then there's a balcony, so you can extend the living area. So you can actually shift the dining to the balcony to have like an al fresco style. If you're facing, especially if you're facing the pool facing, you may want to have a nice dinner al fresco.
Correct.
I mean, weather permitting lah. But yeah, so that was what you're looking at. Pricing wise, you're looking at 1.6 to 1.7, the range lah. So based on the 2-bed plus study, we expect the pricing to be a bit lesser, 2150 per square foot. Reason why we're looking at that kind of pricing is because usually what we see the developers doing is that for the bigger unit types, they tend to price it a bit more attractively. So I feel that the pricing will be closer to this range lah. And this is what we get for the 2-bed plus study.
What do you think of the price?
I mean, you're getting at 1.3 for a 2-bed, 1 bath. I think it's okay. I mean, Treasure, you're looking at about 1.1. I mean, 1.1 or below lah. So I think for these prices, I mean, if you're considering it's a newer project, integrated, so I think I would also factor in as well.
It's the premium you're paying for lah.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that land prices are going up lah. So not say that the developer is trying to overcharge you, because they are getting the land not very cheap anymore.
Alright, so now coming to the 3 bedrooms. Okay, I think for starters, I'm just going to talk about the price first. So yes, you can see that because it's a bigger unit, we are estimating it about 2.1 to 2.2k PSF from $1.9 million to $2 million. So I think for this price for a 3-bedder,
it's super good lah. I mean, for a 2 mil, you get a 3-bedder, not common in the market. So
yes.
I think it's a good opportunity if you have that kind of budget, but you can't really afford anything bigger, but you need a 3-bedroom. Then I think this is a good option lah, if you're especially constrained by your budget. Yeah.
Coming to the layout wise, for the kitchen, you can tell that comparing to the 2-bed plus study, right, your kitchen here is actually a lot longer. So you can actually put more of your appliances there, your air fryer and whatnot lah. Yeah. And then for your layout, once again, it's a dumbbell layout for this 3-bedder compact unit. So for the dining space, I think there's actually nowhere else for you to put your dining table lah, other than the space allocated here for you as suggested on the floor plan.
One thing I like about the space is also the dining is not really facing the toilet, because nowadays we go show flats, we tend to see that quite a bit lah. And I don't really want to see the toilet when I'm dining lah, even though I may be eating alone. It's not the place that I want to be looking at. So I think small things, different people, different preferences for sure. So I'm someone who doesn't like that, but you may be okay with that, then I think you can consider that lah.
So it's good lah that they have this allocated space for your dining table. Alright, so now coming to the 3-bedroom plus study, we can see that we do not have a dumbbell layout from here onwards already. It's a straight walkway to your bedrooms. For the kitchen, this is where natural ventilation comes because you actually have a window at your yard area, right? So take note that your 3-bedroom compact and below, they do not have natural ventilation because there's no window. Same thing for your bathrooms. For the 3-bed plus study, there is also a window here for natural ventilation. And your household shelter is actually located in the middle here lah. So in terms of lighting wise, you might have to install more lights for your kitchen because there is no glass windows for your kitchen. There's not a lot of lighting source coming to the kitchen. So for the 3-bedroom premium plus study, this is actually in the show flat. So if you guys are interested in coming to view Parktown, you can actually contact us. And for the estimated price, likewise, it's ranging for the quantum is about 2.4 to 2.56 million dollars. Now coming to the 4-bedroom, we have actually quite a sizable living space now. It is bigger compared to the previous layouts. Same thing, you actually have a natural ventilation for your kitchen and your bathrooms. So for price wise, we are looking at about 2.74 to 2.94 million dollars with the PSF about 2050 to 2.1, 2.2 around there.
So the reason why the PSF is this is because of the higher unit size lah. And so usually what we see nowadays, developers, they tend to price these kind of units at this kind of lower PSF because they want to attract more buyers as well lah.
Yes.
So this is the show flat model 4-bedroom. So it's also pretty much similar. So in terms of quantum, we're looking at is about 2.74 to 2.94. So just now we were looking at about similar quantum as well. So this is actually the 4-bed premium that we see in the show flat. You can see that all the bathrooms are actually natural ventilation. So you also see that there's a spacious living area, so about 4.5 meters wide and about 6.6 meters long lah. So it's actually quite a spacious living area if you were to ask me.
Yeah.
And then all the common room, you can fit a queen size bed. So some developments we see that not all common rooms you can fit a queen. So sometimes you only can fit a single. So all these small things matter because if you can't fit a queen for that common room, then some household members may not like it lah. So I think it's very important to be aware of all this as well.
Okay, so now coming to the 5-bedroom, this is the last one for our Parktown residences. Your master, of course, is an ensuite bedroom, and then you also have your junior master, and you have your 3 other bedrooms that is going to be using the bathroom 3 lah. Okay, so this is something that you might have to take into account. All 3-bedroom users are using the same toilet lah.
So lastly, how we actually select unit for buyers. So you can see that this is just an example of what we do. So what you can see is that block 17. Let's say we're looking at this, BP4 unit type, block 17, stack 83, level 12, 678 square feet. Let's say we're getting it about 2.2 PSF. The content you're expecting is about 1.53. So if you were to look at it for another unit type, let's say the stack 84 BP S1, which is about level 2 764. So it's a bit bigger. And let's say it goes about 2050 per square foot, we're looking at about 1.56 million. So the difference here is only about 30k. So in 30k, are you okay to go to a lower lower floor of the next unit type that you're looking at, or do you still want to be the highest floor in this development? So these are examples of what we do for our buyers. So when you go for booking, it's very clear, it's very crystal clear on what you should be doing. So another thing is that walkaway pricing is very crucial and big development unit selection is key, because 30k, if I'm paying for one more study, is that worth it? If you were to ask me, I'll take it lah. So yes, it's definitely a lower floor, but personally I feel that, like what I mentioned earlier, higher floor units may not be the way to go here lah, because it's a mid-rise development after all. So it's important to know how many percent more. So, what kind of facing that you're looking at and what kind of layout that you're looking at. So, internal facing premium versus external facing premium. So, some facing may be less desirable, like what I mentioned, like the bus interchange, noisy. So, mid-rise development, like what I mentioned, you can see 30k, is it worth it? So, because it's important, you see Ori, right? Level 2 versus level 40. The difference can be up to 500k.
Correct.
It's quite crazy because you're both getting the same unit type. So, it's just that one is highest, one is lowest floor. It's 500k. So this is what I mean by knowing all these small things, definitely it's very important to have someone with you to guide you through this process. So when you buy, it's a breeze because end of the day, it's important that you choose the right unit type, even though you only got 15 minutes to select your biggest quantum purchase So it's very important to take all this So level 2, 3 bed premium versus a study versus level 2. So it's always important can I top up a bit more to go to the next unit type, or should I stay here?
Yes.
All these are a lot of things that you take note of when you come into booking day. So I think if you choose to work with us, we'll have it all covered. It will be a breeze for you. And I think do feel free to reach out to us if you need any advice, if even Parktown Residences is the most suitable fit for you, because different people, different needs. So if it's something that's not the suitable one, we will tell you as well. So with that, we have come to the end. So thank you so much for staying. Catch you on the next one.
Bye.